board for their generosity in providing. Now you understand the reason we're doing this, don't you? Oh, you never thought of there might be a reason. Other than just providing you with a wonderful tool to help you with instruction in the classroom, it's our first step to a gigantic leap. The Board of Trustees has made a commitment that we are going digital. And I mean we're going digital in a big way with textbooks. We have a major adoption ahead of us. We know with some of the new software we acquired this last spring that it's a necessity that we have tablets in the classrooms for our elementary children, as well as secondary and struggling learners to be using tablets as they gain additional skills in mathematics. So we want you to become very familiar with what every child in the school district will soon have in their possession, which is a tablet. So this is your day to receive instruction in how to use the Latitude, a wonderful product by Dell. And we have a very talented lady here with us, and it's Ronika, right? She told me like Monique, but just call it Ronique. And she is a very gifted, talented presenter that travels the nation for Dell Computers. So I'm going to turn it over to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, and good morning to all of you. Exciting times, exciting to be not just entering this age, because we've entered into the digital age for some time, but to actually be able to utilize some tools that as we move so quickly with technology and the devices that we have accessible to us in the classroom, it just keeps getting bigger, sleeker, and better and easier. So welcome to today's session on mobile learning, and you all have brand new Dell Latitude 10 tablets in front of you, and you also have Microsoft's newest operating system called Windows 8. So we are going to actually be doing pretty much two new things today. Actually, we're going to learn some other new tools as well. But today's focus is really to get you comfortable with what you now hold in your hand. So I'm excited for you. I was excited when I got mine. So I'm very excited for you. Just a little bit about my background. I am from New Jersey, so I'm from the north. So it's been quite some time since I've been in Texas, and it's funny, I haven't been in Texas in over a decade. And then this week I'm going to be in Texas for 4 days straight. So I'm actually going back home tonight, and then I'm coming back to Texas again on Wednesday to stay until Friday. So 10 years, and then now I'm back like all week. So it's great. It's great to be here. It's definitely a privilege. I used to teach in the classroom. I used to teach high school. Is this my secondary group? Elementary group. Okay, so I used to teach high school history in New York City is where I got my start. Now over 15 years ago. And then since then, I've kind of moved into the world of integration technology, professional development. So that's kind of where I've stayed, and it's allowed me the opportunity to meet so many wonderful people like yourself across the country. In a couple of cases, I've actually been able to travel internationally as well. So I do love what I do. I love talking to teachers. You know, give me your ideas. I like to borrow. I don't like to say steal because we are a community. So we borrow from each other, and we just do what we can to help our students succeed in life. All right, so what I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm not sure if you know everybody in the room. You may be sitting with your friends or may not. But I'm going to ask you to find a new friend. You don't have to go too far, I hope. Maybe just someone across from you, or in this case, these ladies don't have anyone across from them necessarily, but you may need to just kind of turn to each other. I just want you to think for a moment. If this was my son, who's 8, if I was to say to him, think about the 90s, obviously he wasn't alive, but for him the 90s was like, oh my God, that was so long ago. That's like olden days. For us, or to me, that just was like yesterday. So I just want you to think about the 90s, what life was like in the 90s. So just take a couple seconds and think about that. Okay? And then I want you to find that new friend, and then discuss with that friend, what technologies did you use then? So think about the 90s. What were you using then? Okay, so I'm seeing, it's funny, so I'm seeing hands go like this, like this. Can I get a couple of volunteers? Just share out a couple of things that you just talked about. Just one thing that you used then, 90s, technology-wise. Yes. Wonderful. Now,
She was all worked up about it. Me and Susie were looking at her like she was just crazy excited. What's so fun about that? We didn't understand why she's so worked up. She said we'll each have our own addresses and it's just going to be awesome.
awesome. So the first description was the computer, which was this big, as she said. And then she said floppy. Now, which floppy? Because there was two versions of floppies. The real big floppy, the one that was really floppy. So the one with the, all right, so some of you, the 90s, you definitely remember that. And I dare to say, it looks like maybe some of you in the 90s, you probably were children. So you probably wouldn't remember that. But I definitely remember that. And yes, the World Wide Web, when I started teaching, that was like the biggest thing. Oh my God, we get to go to the computer lab. We're going to use the internet today. And of course, it was dog slow. But it didn't matter because you got all the kids in there. We're going to use the internet. Thank you. Any others? Any other technologies? Yes. I like that. Dial-up. How many of you remember dial-up? And you had to wait until you heard the all that. I'm like, yes, I finally got through after like 15 minutes. And now we sit for like, I don't know, longer than 10 seconds. What's the matter with this thing? I'm holding up Time Warner cable. What's going on? Any others? I'm thinking of one that I remember in college that was very popular. A bag phone. I don't think I've ever seen a bag phone. Okay, I gotta look that one up. A bag phone, okay. The one I remember in college that was really popular back then, and that's when you were really cool, you had a beeper. Pager? Remember the pager? It's like, oh, I got a beep. So you look on it, and you see like the person's number, or if they were trying to be cool, they'd do hello, which was what, 43770, something like that? All right. So I guess I am dating myself, which that doesn't feel too good. But someone wanted to come and thought I was one of the students, so I feel much better today. So that's what we were using then, and we thought we were like, we were advanced. We were advanced. We were extremely advanced. Pagers, and then we had the floppy disk, which turned into smaller disks. I actually just threw out my box of those not that long ago. This was for a very brief period. We had I think it was a zip disk. Didn't make it too long. It was a hard shell and it held like 250 megabytes. And it was like, oh my God, that's a lot of storage space. So now let's think about now. Okay, what technology and digital resources do you rely on personally now? So fast forward just about, another decade. What do you rely on now? Personally and in your classroom, that you're just like, I don't know how I lived without it. Okay, one or two share outs. What do you rely on now personally that you really are like, I don't know really how I just live without it? Volunteers. Cell phone. Big one. Big one. Not necessarily the bag phone. Not sure what that bag phone looks like. But a cell phone, yes. Any others? What do you rely on in your classroom? Active boards, that's right. Interactive boards. I remember that came out pretty much around 2000 was when it really became popular in the classroom. And now we really can't live without it. All right, you guys are holding something right in your hands. Okay? Tablets now. So we've had desktop computers, we still have them. Laptops, okay? Very popular. We use them in school, out of school. And now tablets. Okay, you have tablets, you have Mac versions, now you have Windows versions, okay, PC versions of tablets. So we've changed, and we've changed pretty quickly. It didn't have to wait too long. It changes, and it continues to change even more rapidly. Okay, so today our focus really is how does the Latitude 10, which is the actual device that you have in your hands, and Windows 8, which is the newest operating system from Microsoft, how is that going to change the way we teach and how our students learn? Now, this is the beginning of a conversation. By no means is this the end-all be-all because there's a lot to learn, but we're going to get started to make you comfortable. Okay, so our goal by the end of this session is for you to understand basically how to navigate with it. This is your first touch point, I think, to these tablets. How to get comfortable with it in a way where you can come to the classroom and say, I would want to incorporate this with some of my lesson activities. And then I'm going to give you some time, and we're going to do this several different ways in several different sections. We're going to explore and practice applications, apps, and applications, desktop applications that can be used to support or enhance your instructional activities. Now, there's one thing you'll never hear me say at any time is that any device, whether it be a Latitude 10, a cell phone, is going to take over a teacher in a classroom, or is going to be the teacher in the classroom. There's always going to be the need for an instructor. These are just tools. Okay, so you'll never hear me say, great, after this, we'll never need, with this tablet, you don't need teachers. No, because there's a lot that we need to do, especially in this age, and these are just tools to help us get there. All right? So just a brief look at the schedule and how we're going to do this for our time together. We have a couple of different activities that we're going to do. So again, to help you get comfortable with the navigation and use. We're going to break it up, as I told you earlier. We're going to look at some web-based applications, which is going to be kind of integrated in what we do. Some educational apps, so we're going to go to the Windows 8 store. And we're going to talk a little bit about Office 365, which I know your district has, and the use of SkyDrive, because you'll be able to access it on these tablets as well. I have a really quick eval, and then we will wrap up and make sure you're out of here as well. All right, if you have, we're going to go old school. If you have pen and paper, which is fun. If you have pen and paper, I'll give you another opportunity to get this down. And once you get into your Latitude 10, you'll be able to get this down in Microsoft if you prefer. This is just a link to my bookmark, my bookmark links. And actually what I'll do is I'll put it up further for those of you in the back who can't see. When you are ready to log into your Latitudes for your tablets, the password is password. And again, we'll get there in actually just a second. So if you do have pen and paper, you can definitely write this down. We're going to revisit this later, but I just want you to have it because there are some websites and resources that you will always be able to come back to. And I'll pull up the page in a little bit. Also, you see a picture there of a person with a big hand. And so that picture, let's see. Okay, so that picture just represents a helping hand. Now there are so many of you in the room, so this is great because you have shoulder buddies that if for, whatever you may say, hey, she went here, where'd she go? Can you help me? We can definitely help each other out. And there's also some wonderful people in the room who I think I can remember some of their names. So we've got Jason over here. I think there's 2 Jasons in the room. So we've got 2 Jasons in the room to help us out. Joe's also in the back, and we'll all be running around helping us out. I think there's Chris in the back as well. And Carrie's in the back too, so helpful. And Julie was somewhere, but I guess she'll be back. So help each other, and we're also going to be in the room floating around to help you as well, so don't feel shy. Okay. Now, as we move along, we're going to be learning some little, I call them tabletese, but some little lingo to help us as we are talking about the uses and some of the functionality of this particular tablet. Before I do that, I just have a very short clip to show you. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may not have. That just talks a little bit about what you can expect out of this tablet. So I think I'm going to need to actually shut this down for it to work, so it doesn't buffer. Give me 1 second. Is that too low for you guys in the back? Yes. All right. Hold on. Better?
I'm sorry, I don't zoom like that. Ouch. Ouch.
Alright, so we'll do it one more time.
There. I'm sorry, I don't zoom like that. Ouch. Ouch. You can't put an SD card there, or there, or there. You can't do 2 things at once? That's cool.
Okay. Alright, so just in that brief couple of seconds, what were some of the terminology you heard? SD card, zooming, doing 2 things at once, which is a function of the tablet as well. At least some of the screens you can do that with. And what was she doing with her fingers? Yeah, pinching, okay? So just some of the lingo that you're going to hear when we deal with the tablet itself. Sorry, I have to keep going back and forth. With the videos and the use of the tablet and the way we have it connected, it would buffer if I actually have PowerPoint open, so I have to close it. Okay, so let's actually try to get into your tablet. So we talked about pinching and zooming, and we're going to also deal with swiping. So you'll hear me say something like, we're going to swipe. You touch and tap in order to get into your apps and applications, and then I'll explain what the difference is. We're going to deal with something called the charms bar, and I'll show you what that is in a moment. Your start screen, and then there might be some other words that I might use. So I just want you to be familiar with them, and then as you're using it, if you start to get used to it, that's how you'll be able to identify some of the things that you want to do or go into. So if you haven't yet gone into your tablet, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and swipe up. You probably have a picture, that first picture, I was told that was Seattle, that first picture. So you just swipe up, and if you need to put in a password, the password is password. And now I'm seeing a lot of tiles, so that means that you are in. All right, so your screen probably looks like mine. Yeah? Okay, very good. All right, so these are your tiles. So this is your start screen. So once you swipe up and you get in, you put your password in. This will take you to the start screen, and these are your tiles. Okay, they look like tiles. And of course, to open any of the tiles or the apps, you can just tap on them to open. Now, with your tablet, there are certain apps or applications that actually come on your tablet. They come pre-installed, and the ones that, if you go to the Windows 8 store, those are your apps that you'll actually install onto the tablet itself. So just a word about the difference between apps and applications. If you've ever used I'm going to say it, iPad. If you've ever used an iPad, they're called apps. And those are mini applications that a lot of them you don't have to actually install on your desktop, so like on your full computer. They're just mini apps. The size of them are not extremely large. Most of them are not that large, and they're designed to run on a tablet device. So if you're working on an iPad, Mac, you go to the Apple Store. If you're working on, in this case, the Dell Latitude 10s, you go to the Windows 8 store to get your apps. Okay, make sense? Now, your app can also, and you'll find this with some desktop applications, they may develop an app, which would be kind of like an abbreviated version of the program. They might develop an app and put that in the Windows 8 store so that you can actually have your full-blown version on your desktop and your app, so you can use it, so that way you can still have full functionality both ways. Okay, now you'll see on your, you'll see on your left-hand side, in the lower left-hand corner, you also have a tile for your desktop as well. So if you were to tap on that, which I won't do right now, when you tap on that, that actually takes you to your desktop, just as if you were sitting on a laptop or a computer. Which is why I truly can say that I am a believer of this tablet, because I literally can travel with just this. I don't have to, have a laptop and have this, because I have everything that I would need on this particular tablet. Okay, so, and we will look at both of them, especially when we look at the, like Microsoft Office. Those are full-blown applications. So when you open it, it's actually going to open on your desktop. Okay? All right. But you'll also see you have a shortcut, you have an app for the Internet Explorer, and then we'll explore some other apps as well. Okay, now the pinching piece happens when, of course, you take your thumb and your forefinger together, and you can actually pinch the screen. Hard because I'm not holding it. But when you do it, you can pinch the screen and your tiles will get really small. Okay? And then, of course, you just widen your fingers for them to open. And I'll show you a couple things as to what you'll do when you actually pinch it in this way, pinching those applications that are on the screen. What you can do with it in a little bit, but just so at least you know how to pinch the screen. Now you have something called a charms charms bar or charm bar. If you swipe out from your right to left, so again, right to left, okay, anybody not get it? So I use my forefinger. So when I use my forefinger, my pointer finger, I just swipe out from right to left, and then this menu will appear. Did everyone get that? Okay, so I'm seeing some screens up here. So again, don't forget you have your shoulder buddy to help as well. This bar will come out no matter where you are on the tablet, okay? And then you have a search functionality, which I love this search functionality because what this search does is, depending on where you are on the tablet, it searches that area. So right now we are just on your applications. So if I wanted to find, let's say I wanted to find Office. Let's say I wanted to find okay, you see how my results now switch? So anything that has the word Office in it, it actually pulls that up. Now it's only searching in my app. That's all it is, searching in my app. It's not searching my desktop or somewhere else, it's searching my app. Now you're going to see when we go to the Windows 8 store, when you pull out that charm bar and you actually search, it's automatically going to know, oh, I'm in the Windows 8 store. So now we're just going to search the Windows 8 store. So it knows where you're searching from, which is pretty neat when you need to find something quickly and use it. Okay, I'm going to skip over sharing for a moment. Bless you. Now you have something that's colored, the third one, it's the start menu. You can get back to your start screen either by tapping that, or you have a hard button that's at the bottom of your tablet, of your case. So either one will take you back. So no matter where you are, so if I go into Internet Explorer, if I want to go back, I can pull out my charm bar, hit start, it takes you back. Okay? Or you have, well, yours has, you have a hard button, hard shell button, so you just press it. If you didn't have that, the case, it would just look like the Windows icon, and you press it, and that'll take you back. Same thing works if you attach a keyboard. So I'm up here, and I've got this, set up. I've got the docking station, which I'll talk about in a minute. I've got a keyboard set up. The same thing would happen if I was at the keyboard, and I just click the keyboard. So whatever you find is easiest for you, depending on your setup. Okay, it takes back. I'm going to skip over devices. I'm going to go to settings. Okay, in your settings, again, it's kind of like the search. It knows where you are, so it's really going to only deal with the settings of where you are. So right now, you're just at the screen that has the tiles. So if you wanted to do certain settings for your tiles, that's where you would click. Just says show administrative tools, which says no, so I'm going to go ahead and come out of that, or help. But below that is where you would want to pay attention to your internet access if you're not connected. Okay, so in this case, I think we're all connected to VHS Wi-Fi, or something that's probably related to the district. Okay, your volume control is also there. Okay, your keyboard is also there. It tells you the keyboard that you have access to, and your power button. Now the power button, that's very important because a lot of times we think that, oh, there's a button at the top that just turns it off, and that's actually not turning it off. So when it's time to shut down, and we'll talk about that when you get ready to go, that's how you want to shut down. You want to pull out your charms bar, go down to where it says power, and then you want to shut down. Okay, but we'll revisit that. All right, and then as we go along, there's some other things that I'm going to show you as well. But I just wanted to get you acclimated to those few things. All right, so just to talk about what you have, and I won't take this off the docking station, but what you have in terms of the buttons, just so again you get used to the different buttons that you're going to use in terms of the functionality. Now you have, and you saw on the, if we look at the right and top views, you have your up at the top right-hand corner. You also have your power source there, which you can use that to put it to sleep. Okay, you have your screen rotate lock. Now again, I'm not going to take this off the dock, but if you were to turn your tablet, it might flip from vertical to horizontal. Yeah? If you want to lock it in a certain direction, you want to tap or click that button that's in the upper right-hand corner to stop it from rotating every time you turn it around. Okay? If anything, if anyone has trouble with that, if something doesn't work, just let us know. Because I know sometimes it either gets stuck in one position or it won't actually it won't work. So just let us know and we'll take a look at your tablet. Okay, now as that little commercial mentioned, you have an SD slot. Yes. Oh, we do have it. Okay. You do have an SD slot. Now what an SD slot is, it's a card that, for the most part, we probably use it. You may or may not know that you have an SD card, but those of you who have cell phones, does everyone have a cell phone in the room? Okay, many of you have an SD card, might have an SD card or slot for your cell phones. And what we typically put on it, you can put any kind of data on it, but mostly you'll see the photos on there, like your media. So your photos, if you have some videos that might go on the SD card. So it's another storage mechanism. And it's a very nice feature to have because, again, there's some things you're going to put on your desktop, but if you take this SD card from, let's say, your camera. So let's say you're using a camera in the classroom with your students. You can take the SD card from the camera and pop it right into your tablet and then be able to display right from that SD card. So that's a very nice feature to have, especially when we're using other digital tools in the classroom. That's also on the top corner. Your microphone's on the top as well. So what that means is you can actually record using this device because you have they look like two little pinholes, and those are your microphones. Okay, now on the right-hand side of your tablet as well, you have your audio port. So of course that's how you're able to hear. So if I didn't have speakers connected, you can also play the video, you hear the sound. And then you have another great feature to have, your full-size USB port. So just like the SD card, you have files that you're coming in with. You can pop in your USB drive and you're ready to go. So again, that's why I love having the tablet because it's just like having it is a full computer. It's a full computer. Okay, so I know one thing that your district is working on is to get everyone on the network. So today we're going to talk about how you transfer files that you can share on SkyDrive, which you have access to, but also you do have the ability to put your PowerPoint presentations or Word documents on your USB drive and actually go ahead and use it that way as well. Okay, so you're definitely ready to go. And then you have a mini HDMI slot there as well. So if you wanted to connect this tablet to, let's say, a projector, there are different connection pieces that you can get to actually use for your this particular slot. So it makes it nice that you can actually connect just like we're connected. So you can, once again, you put this in, you can actually connect your tablet, and then there are connection tools available to help you connect straight to a projector. So you can do exactly what I'm doing. All right, any questions on your top view, any of those buttons on the right-hand side? All right, so real quickly, we're going to now go to the left side and your bottom views. Okay, on the left side, you have two rockers. That's your volume control. Okay, so you have a volume control. Of course, you can go into the charm bar and do your volume settings, but you also have it at the top here as well. So you can use your rockers there. You have something called a Noble lock slot. I don't know if your schools or district is going to actually use this, but if you wanted to get a tool to actually lock your tablet, you can actually you can use, that's your slot for the Noble lock slot. I don't see them around too much, but I know in many businesses, corporations, when they have lots of these devices was laying around on desks and chairs and cubicles, they will have those things to lock down your machine so people can't actually take them. All right. Okay, so you have your front view. If you look on the actual surface, up to the top, you have your camera. So you have your front webcam. In the back, you also have your rear camera. Okay, so that's your camera. So you can record voice, and that means you can record video. Okay, all in this one device. Now, you probably can't see it because you have the cover on, and I don't necessarily know if your district technology department wants you to do any of this, but you do have a swappable battery in the back. So you have the model that actually has a swappable battery. So again, if anything goes wrong, if it stops working, definitely call your technology department to help you out. Okay. And then lastly, before we get some practice with using just a general device, you have docking stations. Now, Jason, I don't think I asked you this question. Will the teachers be getting docking stations or no?
No, not this time. A few people in the district will have those, but right now you have to take it out of the gripping case, so there's not a workable solution.
Okay, so at this moment you won't have a docking station, but there are a few of them. So just like you see this tablet sitting in a docking station, this is one of those that actually belongs to your district. So you can actually sit it up, stick it in there, and then it actually gives you added ports. So some of the ports that I talked about already, like the HDMI and the USB, those ports actually are on the docking station as well. Okay? So it's an optional piece of equipment, but it is available. And perhaps at some point, as you guys start to use it more often, you might go in the direction of everyone may have a docking station, maybe. Okay. All right, so we're going to get a little bit of practice now that I've shown you around a little bit in your actual tablet. So I want you to go back to your start screen, if you're not there. I know I was moving around a bit. And I want you to look for the tile or the app for the camera. Okay, so you can just slide to the left, slide to the left, slide to the right. Okay, and you're going to need your camera. So to get into the camera, you just tap it. Nice, and I can see all of you. Now, if you're looking at yourself, there is a button at the bottom. Now, I know those of you in the back can't see this, but those of you in the front can see this. And if you look down, you actually see where it says change camera. So if you're looking at yourself, so I'm going to do this really quick. All right, that's for sure. So if you look at yourself, just tap the camera and then it'll face it the other direction. All right, so I have a little assignment for you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hold up the camera and you're going to ask your neighbor to say cheese. And you're going to press the screen. You just need to tap the screen to snap the picture. That's all you need to do. It's very easy. Okay, it's a simple. Okay, and then once you're done, you're going to switch to video mode. Take as many pictures as you want. You can strike a pose. And then you're going to switch to video mode. So if your menu is not there, then you need to just swipe up from the bottom to pull up the menu. And you're going to switch to video mode and touch the screen again to start the video. And you should then see the seconds going. And you'll interview them. So then you'll just say to your friend, well, what do you already know about the Latitude 10? How do you want to use it in the classroom? And what do you want to learn? Okay, so when you're done, if you want to check out your pictures, you can go back to your start screen, and there's a tile called Photos. So from your start, so you can go back to your start screen again. Remember, you can either hit the hard key, or you can use your time bar and hit the Windows key. And then when you go back, you click on Photos, give it a moment, and then you'll see Pictures Library. You should see an option for Pictures Library. Okay, and then when you click on Camera Roll, oh, I can't tell you what to find here. When you click on Camera Roll, all the pictures and the videos you will be able to find as well. Let's see. I'm sure I have some crazy ones with my kids somewhere. And then when you get to, if you took video, when you get to something that actually has numbers, oh, can't see anything. That would help. I'll try it again because you didn't even see what I did. All right, so if you go back and you click on, I think I'm actually open already. Click on Photos, and there's where if you have any photos, will actually show up. And if you have anything with numbers, oh Lord, okay. See, my children are all over my tablet. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to scroll really fast. And then anything that actually has numbers by it, sorry, scrolling real fast. I have too many pictures in there. So anything that has numbers, I won't actually play this, but anything that has numbers, then you'll know that's your video, and then you'll actually have the play button there. So that's a quick way of getting to the picture that you've just taken. Now, I'll also show you when we get to the desktop, your full phone desktop, you have the folders just like you normally would. In your computer, you go to your pictures folder, and then you can move them around to different folders. Okay? Actually, I'll show that to you right now. If I go to desktop, and I'm actually going to minimize the PowerPoint presentation. Minimize that. Okay, looks like a desktop, right? Just like a computer, except you probably have a pretty picture on yours. At the bottom, I can actually click the folders, which opens up, should look familiar to us, this opens up our Windows folders. And then if I want to see my pictures under libraries, there's actually two folders. So one will say Camera Roll, that's what you were looking at. And then if you create any other folders, then you create your folders there and you can move your pictures around. Okay, so two spots to see that. Okay, so now let's talk about educational application, just for a brief moment. So right out the box, you have something that you can use to take videos or take pictures of student work. okay, and analyze that work. Or display that work. If you're doing exemplars, you connect a projector to it, you have a picture of it, and you can display that. Okay, you can even let students borrow it to perhaps do their own mini projects. So it's another camera now. So if you have digital cameras in your classroom, you have another device that serves just like a camera. Okay, and that's just, quick and easy without even really having to do a whole lot of training and development on it. You have a video camera and you have a regular still camera at your disposal. And it takes pretty good pictures. Pretty good pictures. All right. So far, easy? Yeah. Comfort level? Good? All right. Good. Oh, how do you delete it? So the way to delete the pictures, that's when I go to the desktop, and that's when I actually go to the desktop just like I would on my regular computer. And I'll go in here. Okay, and then I would, let's say I could probably delete this one. So I will just select it. And of course, if I was to bring up my keyboard, and I wanted to do a shift, so I can do multiple, actually no, it would be control. There we go. Okay, then when I go to home, then I'm going to actually hit delete or tap delete. Okay, so again, how I did that, I went to the desktop. I'll go back to the start screen. I went to the desktop. I opened the folder at the bottom left-hand corner that's next to the Internet Explorer. I opened that folder, which brought me to Windows. Now, all I have to do really is just tap to select. But then I pulled up the keyboard. So if you want to pull up your keyboard in the desktop portion, you'll see on the bar at the bottom, this time it's on the right-hand side, you'll see an icon of a keyboard. And once you pull that up, that will bring up your keyboard. Okay. Any other questions about the pictures, folders, where you find things?
Right here.
Yes.
How do you move your pictures over to your SD card?
Well, do you have one in there right now?
I think we all have one in here.
Oh, you have an SD card in there right now?
Oh, that is, okay.
You have one in there?
No.
Oh, okay. If you did, or even if you had a USB, again, just like you would on your laptop, on the left-hand side where you see right now it's selected on the library's pictures, if you go down a little bit, and it says computer, anything that you have put in, like an SD card or a USB drive, will show up. So actually, let me demonstrate. Alright, so I'm going to actually, I don't have an SD card, but I'm going to pop in a USB, so you'll see what happens. I'm just going to close it and open it again. Okay, so now it's going to actually search for the USB. There we go. I'm connected to the docking station, so it wasn't seeing the one that was actually on my tablet. Okay, so I don't know if, did you see that? I don't know if you saw it. It happened really quick. First, I just had the C drive, the hard drive, and then I put in the USB, and then it now comes up as removable disk. So same thing, if you put in a SD card, it'll show up. It'll probably have the symbol for SD on it, so that it knows you have a card in the slot. And then you just move it there. So at this point, I can take my pictures, go into the camera roll. Okay, at this point I'm just tapping so that you can, I'm trying to mirror what you would do. So I selected a picture, I'm hitting copy to, and I'm gonna actually choose my location so that I can see my removable disk. All right, you see how I'm doing that? So I'm just moving, so now it's actually, my USB just lit up. So if I go to my removable disk, it's now there. There's my picture. Okay. All right, nice and easy. So in this case, I'm just doing the same function that you would do if you were sitting at your laptop or your desktop. Okay, you just pop in your removable drive, go into your Windows folder, find it, copy it or delete it or move it, and then move it over where you need to move it. So in that case, just think of it as, this is what I would do on my computer. All right, very good. Okay, so now we're gonna have a conversation, but through this conversation, we're also going to share out some of our ideas and thoughts. So Mr. Taylor earlier mentioned, there's a reason. There's a reason why we have these tablets. I mean, they are cool, but there's actually a reason and a purpose behind them. So we're going to have this conversation a little bit about, well, why even bring tablets into education at all? And to do that, I'm going to show you a very short video. On my desktop, sorry. Some of you may have seen this before.
What's going on?
Well, this is some, this is like a farm tool.
Okay. What was it that you said you were having a problem earlier?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I want to read more about Frederick Douglass, or maybe like see a larger image. So I double click on the picture, but nothing's happening. Then I can't really read the text, it's kind of small. So, looking for the system preferences so I can make the text bigger.
Laura, you said there was a problem involved?
What we caught is key, that's kind of
What are you doing? What is what?
It might be a link, Joe, click on it.
What's wrong, bro?
There's so many, like,
Joe, drag that picture, you can see it.
I don't know if one they're going to wear. Like, if I drag it, there's just gonna break the
How are you doing that?
like changing pages.
You're just clicking through, what's going on?
It's like molecular technology. No, I'm just turning it on.
Okay.
But it's like molecular technology, so like that's things inside the page.
Inside the page? That's insane.
It's all right.
Well, we'll check back later, see if you fixed your problem.
Okay, and actually this video, it was an accident. It wasn't like they planned to do the video. They were just in their classroom, and then the teacher just started this conversation, and they recorded it. And it's all over. It's YouTube, and it's actually a few years old. But I think it was relevant then, and I think it's even more relevant now, because when this was developed, as you can see, she's using her Mac, and he's referring to things that you would do on a computer or a laptop. Now we have tablets. So tablets, and he's also bringing up something that we know we're already moving forward, and I think Mr. Taylor had already kind of alluded to that fact. So just some ideas and thoughts. Just turn again to your table groups and just talk for a minute. Why are we even introducing tablets in education? Why are we really doing this? What is driving this this tool? And who knows, in a couple of years it might be some other tool, but what's driving this at this particular moment in time? Okay, if you are wearing an orange shirt, can you raise your hand? An orange shirt. All right, so can I just get one volunteer, someone who's in an orange shirt? So what are some of your thoughts? What were just some impressions that your table group thought of? So I have 4 bright orange shirts right in front of me. So any one of you. What did your group talk about? The kids just get it. They get it. This is their world. It truly is their world. It's their world. My 3-year-old, he was born 3 years ago. Tablets were out 3 years ago. What does he pick up when mommy's doing work on something else? He picks up the tablet, and that's what he'll be engaged for hours if you let him. Anything else? Anything else? My orange shirt folks. Okay, so they have access to recent information, more so than recent and in real time information that they would even have from a textbook. Okay, and the age that we're going into now, I do believe Mr. Taylor mentioned this earlier, is the age of digital textbooks. Okay, I think you have some textbooks now that have digital components, correct? Yep. Okay, and that's where we're going in the future, is digital. Colleges now, digital textbooks. Schools across the country, if they're not doing it now, they're paving the way for that. So the tablets become that tool to be able to utilize not just the textbook still has relevance, but when I need more information beyond the textbook, that book, that printed paper, can't take me anywhere further. So if I click the picture, I can't get more information from a textbook. But if I click the picture from a tablet that maybe my textbook is a part of, yeah, that's going to probably link out to something else that'll actually take me to a simulation, or it might take me to more information, or take me to other links to resources to help in that critical piece of learning. Okay, so when we talk about all of the different reasons why we use tablets in education, definitely for the engagement. This is our kids' world, our children's world. It does inspire their creativity and their hands-on learning, because again, just like as you all did when I had you guys go to the camera right away, got you guys moving, talking, and using the tool. So if you give purpose to the tool, then they will use it for their own creativity and to also showcase what they have understood. It's collaborative. So now you all have a tablet in your hand, but I could have said to you, we're just going to use one tablet and you work in pairs. So you have to work together. Okay, so it could be a collaborative tool as well. Meets the needs of diverse learners. We know that just like we are all different in this room, okay, many of you, I might be going a little too fast, might be going a little too slow. Some of you might like a little bit more audio, more visual. We're all different. And so this will lend itself to be helping you meet those different needs on a daily basis and as needed. It's mobile. You can walk with it. You guys have these beautiful looking pouches with these hard, durable cases, but you can walk with it. It's fairly light. It's not going to break your back. It's not like those books that the kids have to walk around with, which are actually slowly we're going into an age where we're going to try to minimize that. And it is a 21st century tool. It's a real life tool. So this is not just necessarily even for us, but for our kids. Now, again, it's hard to tell. So if I think about my 8-year-old or my 8-year-old who's going to 4th grade, I really don't know what tool he's going to be, what's going to be out there when he does graduate. But for the kids who are juniors and seniors now, this is a real life tool that's being used in the workplace. So for us to use it and even use it with them, and even with our younger kids, it's teaching them those skills that they will need for the devices that are going to be handed to them. And a lot of companies, they'll have trainings, but you have to go to the training. Either you'll go to the trainings on your own, but they may not spend hundreds of thousands of dollars training you how to make sure you know how to use a device. They're expecting that when you get there, you're already familiar with applications, certain applications and devices so that you can go ahead and do your job. Okay? All right, so now I'm gonna ask you another question, but this time I'm going to use a different tool. So this is twofold. You're using this tool as a student, but also I want you to think about the implications that you could use this for in your classroom. And again, this is going to be on your tablet. So the question I have for you, I want you to take a look at that list of skills. I'll give you a moment to read them. Okay, and when you're done, I'd like you to, you're going to go to this website, and I'm going to show you how to get there. But just someone at your table, or a couple people at your table, just make sure you got that number down. 10499. And the website you're going to go to is Socrative, or Socrative, depends on who you're talking to. Okay, so now we're going to actually go to your Internet Explorer app. I keep forgetting I have to actually come out of the presentation. Okay, so if you go back to your start screen, if you're not there already, you're going to click Internet Explorer app. Now, this looks a little different than if you were on the desktop. Because again, I told you that your apps sometimes are an abbreviated version of the full-blown application. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start a new, oh, that's fine. Okay, so when you open it up, at the very bottom, and again, I'm sorry for the people in the back, you can't see the very bottom of the screen, but at the very bottom of the screen, that's where you're going to type in the web address. Okay, so a little different in terms of where you're looking. So as soon as you go ahead and tap, your keyboard should actually come up. So as soon as you tap the bottom, so I'll go back down just so that everyone can see what I just did. As soon as you tap the bottom where you're going to type in the URL, that's where you're going to type in www.socrative.com. And then you will know that you are successful if you get this page. And one other thing I will show you, if you're using the app, is if you have websites that you go to frequently, and hopefully you didn't go at the bottom. At the bottom where you just type your URL, you will see 3 circles to the right. The circle in the middle looks like a push pin. You can click the push pin, and you get 2 options. You can add it to your favorites, or you can pin it to the start. Now, adding to your favorites, same thing, adding to your websites, your favorites, your bookmarks. If you pin to start, it actually will create another, what's that called? Tile. It'll create another tile that'll be right on your start screen. Okay, and then of course, if you want to, change the title, you can change the title. And then you click pin to start, and it does it. Now, I'm not going to pop out yet to show you what it looks like, but it's now been added to your start screen. So if there are websites that you use frequently, You go here to the app, do the same thing, pin it to your start, and then you just go ahead and whenever you open up your tablet, tap and you're right there. Okay? So now you're going to go in as a student. The student login, and hopefully you capture that number, which is 10499. You're going to click join room. And I think I'm here already. So at this point, you're probably waiting for me. So probably just say waiting. Okay, so what this site is, it's like having, it is student response. It's a student response system, but it's web-based. Okay, so I don't know, those of you who may have used clickers in your classroom, I heard you use active boards in your classrooms. So I know they have those pods that come with them, those called active votes, something like that. Okay, so some of you are like, I don't know what you're talking about. If you have clickers in your classroom where all of your students can respond, instead of having clickers, you can use this particular type of a device, and it's, not device, sorry, a website. And so this is accessible from any laptop, computer, tablet, whatever you have. Okay, so this is another option. So I'm going to start my quiz. So as a teacher, I created a quiz. So I'm going to go to that quiz, and you're just holding and waiting for me to start the quiz. And I think I will do teacher paste. All right, so now, did you get some sort of a first question? Yes. All right, so go ahead and just enter your first and last name. Okay, and okay, so as you can see, now again, I'm doing this as a demonstration to show you the tool and also show you how it's working on the tablet. This is in real time, so I can see 29 of you responded, 46 of you responded, so just keep flipping, and there are your responses. Okay, so it's a quick and easy tool, and again, you have your tablet so you can be doing this, and then if your students have the laptops, they can be doing this and you can put in whatever questions to assess. Whatever you're assessing, or if you're doing a survey, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, all right, so I'm going to send the next question to you. Sorry, some of you I might have caught you midstream. All right, did it change the question? All right. So now in this case, you're just going to go ahead and type in your response. If you remember, the options were, which you probably wouldn't remember. Okay, those were your options. So you're just going to go ahead and type those in. Okay, for the purpose of time, I'm actually going to breeze along, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go back. Okay, so again, it's real time, so I can see what you are responding. I do pretty quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and end the activity. So as a teacher, well, what do I do with the responses after? So you've given an assessment. So what do I do with that? I can either email the report to myself or download the report. In this case, I'm going to download it. And I'm going to open it. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so I know you guys have Excel. Yes, I want to open it with Excel. And it's gonna take, okay. So you'll see, so here's my report. So now what can I do with this report? Save it. Okay? Free tool. Entirely free, no charge to use. Now I know I'm sure they have the packages depending on if you want to do a bundle and things like that, but again, to do what I need to do, and I'm sure to do what you need to do in your classroom, totally free. And again, it's called Socrative. You can do it in student pace mode or a teacher pace mode. In this case, I did teacher pace, so I was controlling the flow of the question. You could do a student pace so that you start the quiz and the students will just work at their own pace, and you say, okay, you have 20 minutes to finish your spelling test. They finish the spelling test, and you go ahead and end at the time, when the time has ended, you end the quiz. And then you have the results here, you save it, you've got it. Okay? Quick and easy. Now I'm dirty. Okay.
How long can answers be?
The character limit? You could do short answer. You know, I don't think I've ever tested out the character limit on that. But you can definitely do short answers. Let's see. Okay, so obviously I don't know how many characters you can do. I'm sure it's longer than a tweet, but I'm not sure if it'll do like an essay, that type of thing. But definitely you can go ahead and check that out. So you got the website, and again, that's a tool you can use right away with your tablet. So I'm going to move along here. I think I'm actually going to skip this particular tool for time's sake. All right. Skip. Okay. There's one other resource that I want you to know that you have available to you. We use the camera to take videos. You can also use your tablet to play videos that are already created. So I know that your district has an account with Discovery Education. I already heard the old terminology, so this might be more familiar to you, United Streaming. Does that ring a bell to anybody? Okay, so you can actually pull up Discovery Education streaming on these tablets, and you will have no problems. We tested it out earlier. You will have no problems playing any of the videos or any of the audio files that are in there. So I think I already have it here, so I might be able to just... And by the way, just so you can, so I'm going to talk to you as I'm doing certain things. So let me go back to this page. When you're on a page using the Explorer app, if you have multiple windows open, so you know like how you're on your desktop and you have multiple windows open, multiple tabs? In this case, if you want to see those tabs, you need to pull down from the top. When I pull down, you'll see what happens. Pull down from the top, and any windows you have open, that's how it displays. Because while you're looking at it now, you're like, oh, well, how do I get to any other thing I have open? If you swipe from the bottom, all it's going to give you is going to be the URL. Well, it gave you the URL and it actually gave you the top. But what you can do too is you swipe from the top and it'll give you the different windows and you have your options to close it, because it does look a little different than your desktop. If you want to add a new window, you hit the plus sign. Now in this case, I already have Discovery Education open, so I'm going to go ahead and click mine. And then I'm going to, does this look familiar? So how many of you use it? Okay, good. There's a good amount of hands going up. So when you get in, so this is familiar to you, you enter if you do your keyword search, some of you may do curriculum standards, all that all works, you won't have a problem. I'm going to just type really quickly. Okay, this is just a demonstration that it does work. I'll pull this up. You haven't had lunch yet, right? No. So you're about to go to lunch. Okay, the only thing to make sure of, and you may or may not remember this, but I'll make sure I tell your support team. The settings. Well, this will just be a reminder to you that before you eat your lunch, You need to wash your hands. Oh, she doesn't know what's about to happen. So now I would hate to have her at a party, touching all of the food. And that's called the sneeze, by the way, which is applicable at the elementary level, secondary level, adult level, in terms of talking about how to protect ourselves and what we should be doing as a constant reminder. So this video, this video, in addition to all the thousands that you have access to through your district, is available. As you can see, it played quite easily, so you can pull it up, use it in your classroom as well. If you have material, so in this case, this particular video has PDF files, so the PDF files will open and you'll be able to use it as well. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing and getting the feel that anything you would be doing at your laptop or your desktop, you can do it on this tablet. Okay, so anything that you need. So let me go ahead and close this out. Okay, so one other little quick tip to show you how to close things out. You don't have to do it yet, but if I'm closing this PDF document, I'm going to swipe from the top and just pull it all the way down, and I'm going to just close it out. So you'll probably see it happen really quickly. See how it just, whoop, that's how you close things out. If you don't do that, what happens is you have all these applications open and they're just all open. Okay, so that's how you close something out. All right, so that's two so far. So two websites so far that you can use. That one is free and one is not free, but you already have access to. Now, there might be some others that you use all the time. So you can think about those websites. Anybody have any favorite websites? You can think about those websites that you use all the time and test it out. See how it flows in terms of using it on the tablet, but it should flow just fine. Okay, so we're not going to do this at this moment because I want to move on a little bit just to talk about the Windows 8 store, so you get to get in there for a minute, and then talk about Office 365. But that website that I gave you earlier, the list of bookmarks that you probably copied down. Okay, when you get to that page, so on your own time, let's see if I go back to the internet. Go ahead and open. When you get to that page, this is what it will look like. So feel free to, these are just bookmarks, I did not create all these websites. This comes from working with teachers across the country, just like yourself, where another teacher says to me, oh, this is a great website, go to ABC Teach, go to starfall.com, go to National Geographic. So I've just been adding these lists. And it's because it's web-based, so that means if I share it out, that means anyone can get to it as long as you have internet access. So when you get there, you're going to see that I have started one now for Latitude 10, but some of the other ones, the interactive websites for use with interactive whiteboards. I have one for social studies, that's what I used to teach, so I have one for social studies and some other things. So feel free to go there. I know we don't have time to go into all these websites for you to just play around with it, but once you get there, feel free to click on any of the links so that you can play around there. All right, so let's talk about the Windows 8 store. By the way, let me just show you this. Remember how we pinned to start? So I pinned to start Socratic. You may have done the same thing. Remember how I did that? Added a tile. So it added it always adds to the far right. So whatever you add, it adds to the far right. Okay, and so one other little thing you can do too. So we put it on the start menu, but what if I didn't really want it on the start menu? I can pull the tile just slightly, pull the tile slightly down. And you see a little check mark? Okay, it pulls down this menu at the bottom. Sorry again for the guys in the back. To the left-hand side, it says unpin from start. Okay, so if you haven't noticed yet, your bottom bar, sometimes if you swipe up, or in this case, if it's tiled, it actually brings up a menu. So lots of times the menu will be at the bottom. Okay, but I'm going to leave that there, so I'm just going to do that, like where it is. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the Windows Store, and let's let you get in there to see what you might find. Now, the Windows Store is a green tile with a white shopping bag, and it says Store. So we're going to go ahead and tap on that. Okay, so now this is a growing store. So just like with any new thing, it will take time to build up its resources. So there are quite a few resources in there now, but it hasn't been out as long as the Apple Store. So therefore, you're going to find, I know some of you have used iPads and you have favorite apps, so this can be an opportunity for you to look to find some things to see if maybe the same app is there or maybe something similar. So remember I said before, well, first of all, when you go to the store, it'll probably tell you all categories, so you can change the categories by tapping, and you can go down to education if you just want solely education. But sometimes I leave it open because sometimes I look for things that's not in the education category. Okay, then there's all prices. So you'll notice there's three options. There's free and trial, and then there's paid. Okay, so just like with any other store, there's some things that will be totally free, and then there's some things that you're going to have to pay for. As far as what the district is recommending, or their stance is, let's see what we can find that is free, that you don't have to pay for, it's anything out of pocket, and then you can determine perhaps as a grade level team, if you're in elementary school, or if you're in secondary school, as a department, think about, well, what are some of those things I may need that you have to pay for, but, what are we using it for, and then how do you get reimbursed? Okay, and then of course you can sort by relevance, what's newest, by highest rating, etc. Okay, so now remember I told you that charm bar works really well here. So when I click on search, it automatically knows that I'm searching within the Windows Store. So if I'm looking for, let's say I'm looking for a math application. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just type in math and hit the search button. Okay, and so you'll see I didn't do the all prices, and I'm going to filter to free. Okay, and so now I'm pulling up all the different math applications that are there. Now notice the stars as well, because of course the stars represent ratings. Some of them are so new, so they may not have ratings, but just like any other app, sometimes it's trial and error. So this one has 5 stars. So let's see what this is. Math rush patterns, excuse me. Okay, you get a full description of what it is. And then when you're ready to install, you're literally going to click install. So I'm going to give you a few moments to take a look in the store to see what might be relevant to you. I've had teachers say they are looking for voice translators. So I've found a few of those. Some of them are free, some of them are not free. Science teachers are looking for periodic tables. I've had teachers looking for grammar apps.
How did you get those boxes on top, all categories for free you have to go under a subject?
No, I actually,
You search.
let me go back to the store again. When you first opened the store, did it not show that?
No.
What did it show you?
Just the category.
Oh, well, so, did you try searching yet? I searched for something,
Oh, okay.
and then once I searched for something, then it pulled up the categories, and then it also had the app at the bottom. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So take a few moments. I'll give you a few moments to look for things. I think I have a resource sheet that actually may be helpful. The document that you see up here are just a list of some of the sites that I've gotten from other teachers that they recommend. Again, it really depends on your purpose, but here are some titles if you just want to, if you're right now blank and you're like, oh, I don't know what I really want to search for. Here's some titles that may look interesting to you, and then you can literally just type them in and pull them up. Dictionaries are always good to have. I know some teachers use the Khan Academy, which are also free tutorials and videos, so there's an app for the Khan Academy as well. American history, there's a site called Free Books, so if you want free books, free literature. Okay, so take a few minutes just to look to see what you find, and I'll walk around and help you as well.
Set up your live account. It is your first name dot last name at burkburnettisd.org and your email password. All that's tied in Microsoft. just a side note, I know that we're having problems creating your Microsoft accounts. It looks to be on Microsoft's side. We are going to have videos that will cover everything that you learned today, individual and like a 5-minute video on our website. So don't worry if you can't get things set up just the way you want today. We'll have plenty of instruction and we'll come by and we'll help you get it all set up. Okay? With regard to email, that's how we know it's on Microsoft's end, because we can't log into email or create a live account. That is all tied into your school email, which is basically a Microsoft Live account.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you in about 60 seconds, and I promise you'll be able to go back. Okay, maybe less than 60 seconds. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to at least talk to you a little bit about Office 365, which is something that you have access to. I know we're working out the account issues right now, so some of you have already tapped on it, and you're not able to get in. But just so at least you know what you have, so that when you do have the accounts are all set up, that you know you have it, it's ready to go on your tablets. So in addition to you have obviously web-based applications which don't require any install, and then you have your Windows 8 apps that many of you have downloaded, and I see that you're now exploring some of those, which is great. You also have your applications, I call it productivity tools, your productivity tools that we pretty much rely on every day. Things like Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Some of you may do things like Publisher and things like that, but at least the basic 3 you have access to. So I'm going to just go back to my start menu just for a moment, just to at least show you when it's all set up, what you have. Now, Microsoft has come out with something called Office 365, and what that does is it not only gives you an opportunity to download your typical tools and use it on your desktop, but it also gives you access to a virtual setting that will allow you to upload your files in the clouds. We call it in the clouds. You can share that way, or you can continue working on them without actually even physically being at your tablet or desktop or laptop, and you can access them anywhere. So it's this platform that allows you to work anywhere, anytime. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with Google Apps? Google Docs, Google Drive, okay. So, Google has Google Drive now. It was called Google Docs before, and you were able to do word processing on it. They had something called spreadsheets. So Microsoft has a full-blown version, which I think is even, for us, easier to use because it gives you the same functionality and tools as if you were using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or Microsoft PowerPoint. You've seen me with my PowerPoint presentation. I can create all of that on my tablet, and part of it was on a laptop, and part of it I've done here. So it's fully functional and fully works. So I'm going to just show you, I guess let me show you, let's open up Word. Okay, so this particular document is a Word document. So it does look a little different in terms of the layout of the top, but notice it still has the same ribbons that you would see if you were working on your laptop computer, desktop computer. So if you go home, you're going to see the drop downs. Do those tools look familiar to you? Yes, all familiar. Okay, insert. So full functionality. Okay, so if you were just sitting here working at your tablet, full functionality. When you're ready to save, I'm going to go to File now. When you're ready to save, though, you have some options, some different options. So in addition to doing the new, the open, and the save as, you can share, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Share. Okay, and notice I can share, I can invite people. So it's a step 1, and that's pretty small to read, so I'll just read it. It says, save your document to a SkyDrive location. SkyDrive, that's the cloud. That's where if I wanted to push it up to the clouds, that's where it's linked to your accounts. You all will have a SkyDrive account, and therefore you can share files back and forth or upload. And then step 2 would be share your document, and then you can invite people to share and collaborate on that same document as well. So I'm gonna go pop back up to Save As for a minute. So notice when I go to Save As, I have some other options too. So that might be new to you. So computer, that's your normal, let's save it right here. We're saving on a tablet, we're saving on a USB. But here are my clouds, and I'm already in my account. So it says save as, and put it in Ronique Hicks's SkyDrive account. Okay, and again, don't worry, because I know I'm going pretty fast with this one. Oops. And I'm replacing the existing file, I'm hitting save. Okay, and at the bottom you can't see it, but it just says uploading to SkyDrive. Okay, so before I close out of this Word, so does that part make sense? This is normal Word. You get in there, you type, you do your document, you can do a file save as, you can save on your computer. The next step that I'm actually doing that's new to us all is the SkyDrive piece. So I just said save it to my SkyDrive account. So my SkyDrive is in the clouds. Okay, so I'm going to actually close out this Word document. There we go. And then you may have an icon. Do you all have a tile? I said icon. Ooh. You may have a tile. Do you have a tile that says SkyDrive? Yes, you do. All right, so mine is probably already open, so it's not going to ask me to put in my account information. But when I click SkyDrive, or when I tap SkyDrive, and it's introducing me. Okay, I'm not going to sync any folders at this point in time. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. So let me go to SkyDrive here. Okay, so now I'm in my SkyDrive account. Okay, so I'm online and I'm in my SkyDrive account. So notice this whole interface does look different, but this is where I can upload and share my files. At this moment, I have 7 gigs of space in the clouds where I can place these files. So when you get here, you have some options at the top. So up in the upper left-hand corner where it says SkyDrive, I can create a new file. So notice, I can create a document in the cloud. I can create an Excel workbook in the cloud, PowerPoint presentation, OneNote, and it says an Excel survey. I can upload from here. I gave me trouble last night. But if I upload it from here, I could actually look for any folders to upload to, or upload from, excuse me. Okay. When you do upload, you'll see that it all will reside here. So that means if I leave here today, and I go, or I can go to another person's computer, I can go home, go to another tablet, I can log into my SkyDrive account, and my documents that I want to still see without actually being on my physical tablet is up here. Okay, so this does not mirror what's on your desktop. These are the things that you push up to the account, and then you can work on it. So notice I put, here's the resources. So when I open it, okay, upper left-hand corner still says SkyDrive, so that's how I know I'm in SkyDrive. But if I want to edit the document, I have an option. I can edit it in regular Word, or I can edit it in the Word web app. Okay, and again, the nice thing is, does this look very different from what I showed you earlier? In Word? Does that look very different? No, it doesn't. So it still gives you pretty much the same functionality as if you were working in Word on your desktop. Okay, but it's in the cloud, it's in the web, it's on the web, it's in the cloud. No, that's a very good question. So for you to not lose it, that could be one reason you want another place for storage to say, okay, God forbid my computer crashes, I have it somewhere else. Could be for that purpose as well. For collaboration. So what you can do is I can share my document with you without actually having to send you the file. And we can work on it together. So let's say we're doing a team project. And I give you, teacher gave me an assignment, but it's a team of us and we want to work on the same document. I don't have to email you the document for you to make changes, then you email it back for me to make changes, and then you email it again. So we're going back and forth. In this case, we can actually work on it and collaborate on the same document and have one version of that document rather than going back and forth. So for people who've used things like Google Docs before, it's the same concept. We now can do it though with pretty much the functionality of the tools that we use all the time, like Word, Excel. So we have the same interface, and to me it works a little less clunky than Google does. So I'm going to mention one more thing, or actually I'm going to ask Joe to come up here really quick as I think it's probably going to help someone else, because Joe had a link to share with you that was actually going to be helpful to you in terms of when you start to use SkyDrive.
Yeah, if you just go to this link at the very bottom of this document, it'll have all of the shortcuts, the internet shortcuts that you need. And it'll also have it's an Ignite file, and it's like basically a bundle of all the software, and you can continue to run that file, and it'll update all of your software. So. This is a SkyDrive folder. If you know something that should be in this, you can email me and I can add it to it.
So if you get this down, so before I actually go to it, you can get this down. So this is an example of how the sharing works. So Joe created a folder, actually, and he has all of these links and shortcuts in this folder. So this one link will take you to his SkyDrive account folder that he is now sharing with you. So this is an example of how the sharing works. I can share a link with you and it'll take you exactly to my documents or the documents or folders that we want to work on together without actually having to physically send it via email. Because sometimes those folders contain files that are way too large for you to be able to send via email, especially in a school or district. You have file limits, you have file size limits, which definitely makes sense. And in this case, initially you get like 7 gig, and that's a lot of space. No, what you would do is if you just leave it in your account, you just don't share it. Yeah. Actually, absolutely. So the question here was, so if it was a confidential file, do I want to put it in the clouds? You can still put it in the clouds, just don't share it out. Just don't share it out. Because it's your account. So unless you share it with someone, it's your account. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go there. Okay, and now I'm actually working in the desktop view, which this probably looks very familiar to you if you are sitting at your laptop and you click on Internet Explorer to see, now you see the tabs on the top. So I'm now working in desktop view. Okay, so automatically this took me to this shared folder in SkyDrive. Okay, and this is what Joe was talking about. So these are links, these are shortcuts you said, Joe, so these are shortcuts to different resources that you use all the time. So think through math, AHA Math, Renaissance Place, Study Island. So if you were to, from your tablet, if you were to click on it, you can go right there. Do you want to talk, Joe, about, is it called Nanite?
Yeah, that's all the programs. They actually have LibreOffice in there, which is kind of like, it's a free office suite that you can use for now, because we don't have the Microsoft Office 2013, we just have the SkyDrive version. So this will give you an office suite. The only thing different about this is that you have to know is in this LibreOffice, you have to save as, and then the corresponding Microsoft file types, if that makes sense. That's it.
But more to come if you want more information on the different shortcuts that are in here, the different programs that are in here as well. So that's a good one to keep. All right, so can't believe time flies. Did you get anything new out of this session? I know we went pretty quickly, and the time went by, and there's so much to know, but I definitely hope that you feel comfortable at least walking out the door with your tablet. So if we were just to review the goals for this session, our time together, just by, let's say, a fist of 5, okay, 5 being like, I feel super comfortable, I'm gonna walk out of here and I really think that we've met the first objective. So the first objective was to understand the basic navigation of the Latitude 10 and the Windows apps, the Windows 8 apps. So fist of 5, 5 being like, I think I feel comfortable with the basic navigation, 1 being like, we need to do this all over again. So fist of 5. Okay, I see some, okay, good. Now this is good because we know, again, this is something new. So you have to just, you can take it with you, you're gonna take it with you and just practice. Practice it. Again, it doesn't take too long, it's not too huge of a learning curve, but definitely practice with it. Okay, the second one, being able to explore and practice apps and desktop applications that can be used to support or enhance instructional activities. So now as a teacher, I have in my mind where I think you should be, so let's see if I'm right. Go ahead, fist of 5 again. Oh wow, that's better than I expected. Okay. So I know it went by really quickly. So again, I do appreciate your attention today and your participation today. I wish you well as you start your journey. This is the beginning of a journey with these tablets. And I hope to hear great things about what you do with them. So have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Hey guys, I just want you to feel comfortable. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We are going to start putting videos on our intro page, so it will walk you through every step. And you can always call the help desk 569-4445 or just call 2107. Okay? you guys have any questions, let us know. Thank you very much for coming out.